If I could make one modification to this car right now, it'll be this. Not the box, but what's in it. Today we have two things on the list with my E55 AMG, and that is number one, we're gonna raise it up just a little bit, as this one is currently sitting on coilovers, and it is a little bit too low for the streets of Florida. Number two, we're gonna put on a carbon fiber lip on this beautiful E63 front bumper. But before we do that, I have a little announcement. I finally got a refill. As many of you already know, I ran out. It was the worst period of my life. You can get yours in the description down below, or here. Don't know where we're gonna edit it in, but now I'm finally ready to rock and roll. As every other car guy, I still like a good fitment, but I do believe that we still have a little bit of room here to where we can raise it up and still have it look nice. It is pretty low at the moment, as it's sitting on 19-inch wheels. I would not want to go 18, because then it would be pretty much slammed on the ground, and I want to be able to use my cars. But we're gonna jack this thing up. We're gonna get the spanners first. I do believe they are. If anybody knows what that sound is, I do believe it's like the air. Sometimes it's making that noise. I do believe it's for the air pump for the. Damn, it's annoying. For the massage seats. Yeah, shut up. So these are spanners. I'm gonna use the hell? It usually does it like once. What the hell? Well, it's behind here, and I know that that's the pump for the massage seats and stuff. I don't have a lot of tools here in America. I have to do everything by hand. But I want to show you guys how to do this. And I did apply the e-brake, and we're gonna use the spanners for the coilovers. And I'm also gonna start to hand loosen the wheel bolts on the front wheels so we can get those off. When you're doing this, make sure that you put the car on jack stands to where you don't put a load or pressure on the spring. So you want the wheel to hang freely, and you don't want to put them like under your control arm and compress the spring. You want it to hang freely. So I did that. I'm not 100% happy where I put them, but it is what it is, and it's gonna have to be there for now. I'm gonna take the wheels off, and we're gonna do some measurements. One of the things I don't like about Mercedes is that they don't use the wheel nuts. They use the bolts, and as of me, I don't have the perfect spacers on there, so I kind of like have to adjust everything by hand a little bit when I put it on, and you're typically never ever going to have a perfectly balanced front wheel. But I'm looking to get real wheels, but something more serious than what I currently do have. And if I do, I'm gonna order them specifically for this car, so I don't need to run spacers at all. Now we're getting to the interesting part about this, guys. Coilovers. This has been spoken about so much, and there are a ton of guides out there, but I'm gonna do this anyway for you. If you wanna raise or lower the right height of your vehicle, you wanna loosen the bottom nut, and you wanna make sure to have the threads go up or down in this. You do not want to adjust the distance between this nut and the top of the strut, because that means you're decreasing the height of the spring, meaning you're compressing the spring, meaning that you're going to get a stiffer ride, and you don't want to do that, because they usually come presetted a little bit to where the manufacturer think that, you know, it's a decent amount of spring rate for your vehicle. So you do not want to touch that. You want to adjust it down there. I'm going to show you exactly how that's done. I'm starting off on the driver's side of the vehicle, and I'm going to try to do this the best I can. I have pinched this in between the top golden ring and the little black ring there. So it's pinched in there and it's not going anywhere. And I'm measuring to the underside of this golden ring right here. You're not going to be able to see it, but I have to use my both hands to do that. But when I do that, it measures to 13.5. And I actually cheated a little bit, and I measured the other side too, and they're the same. And I do believe we're just gonna raise it up by like 2 or 3 millimeters. And I'm gonna show you how to do that and make sure that you're measuring over and over to get the same results on both sides. Because it can be a little bit tricky to measure like this. Obviously not the best idea. You could use different types of measuring tapes or whatever you want to measure with, but make sure you get the same on both sides. As sometimes these tend to sit, even though you don't really tighten them. Once you're done, these rings can tend to seize up a little bit. So you want to make sure that you do not tighten this too much, because you really don't want that issue later on. This strut with the threads can thread into this cone down here. Imagine this is a bolt and this is a nut. So you can actually turn this whole thing. And since you don't want to adjust the ratio here, you don't want to lock this and then start to twist here. But if you unlock this, and these two, they lock up to each other. So if you turn the top one now and you turn it, I think it's should be counterclockwise, you're gonna turn the whole like leg, so to speak, down into this, we're gonna call this a nut. So you're gonna thread the bolt into the nut, making the distance shorter if you want to lower it, and the opposite if you want to raise it. So sorry, my bad. We're gonna turn it clockwise because we want to raise it up. When you do raise it up, you want to turn, I usually turn on the bottom one, but if you lower it, you can turn on the top one. And since we're raising it up, if we turn this all the way down here, if you leave it there, you're gonna see, if you're doing what's right now, you're gonna see that the distance between this, so to speak, nut down here and this little spanner ring, the distance is gonna increase. So we're gonna start to turn this a little bit. We're not gonna do it by much though. But if I turn here now, oh, this is the worst spanner. There are other ones, but screw it. As I turn this right now, the distance here increases, meaning the car is rising. As you see, I just unlock this just by like a little bit, and then I could just do this to lock it, right? If I do this, it's not locking anymore because the distance here increased. But now I can actually turn it like a whole lap before here it locks. So that means I raised it up by one lap of threads on this. Now you can lock it with your fingers, like kind of like this, like what I just did now, and then you can start to measure again. So what I did was I pinched it here in between the golden ring and the black ring, and I took it to down there and I measured to the bottom of this ring. I think that was about 2 millimeters-ish. I think we can raise it up just a little bit more. That should be good. For another millimeter, lock it back. Yeah, now we're at 13.7 centimeters. I think, honestly, that'll do. Maybe, actually, you know what? We're gonna raise it up just a little bit more. Because I'd rather keep my front lip than to lose it. But I really do like low cars too, so it's kind of hurts a little bit to raise the car up. So once you're done with that, you wanna take this, because you unthreaded it like this, make sure to lock it with your fingers like this, and then take this tool and be very careful here, because you want to lock it with this tool, tighten it up, but like not more than that. I use like my thumb pretty much. So it sits, it doesn't come off with your fingers, but look, if I take this and I just push very easily, it comes right off. Because you don't want to sit here and struggle, because these will seize up and you're not going to get it off. Well, I mean, you can, because you can use a flathead screwdriver on the tabs and use like a hammer or something, but you're going to mess up the rings. You don't want to do that. So that's how that's done. 13.9 centimeters on this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and there's no difference whatsoever. A little tip is that you can use a steel brush on the threads here if you got a lot of dirt and gravel to try to get it off, because you don't want to twist and turn the coilover in and out with a lot of debris and dirt in there. What I want to do for future upgrades, I kind of want to repaint these. They came, the old owner painted them blue. I would love to do a yellow with a black AMG logo on there. I think that's gonna look dope. So I'm gonna get to it on the other side, and that's how easy it is to raise or lower your car. I'm gonna be smart about this as we put the lip on. I'm not gonna take it down from the jacks, obviously, because we need to drill from underneath. And I'm not gonna put the wheels on, because the window right there is best source of light. And if we put the tire on, it's gonna block the light. So we're not gonna do that. I am just trying to figure out a way, maybe use the buckets over there to put it under, so you can put the lip on top and then just lift the last couple of inches or centimeters with your hands. Sometimes you just gotta get creative. I used the box that it came in and I put the buckets on there, and it actually went a little bit too well. Because look at this. I stacked it or I put the lip on the buckets, and I got it to where I kind of wanted to have it. And then right after that, I kind of pinched it with my fingers, and I used clamps on the inside. This is a little broken right there. But I used clamps on the inside to get it to hang to where I kind of want it to be. But honestly, it actually turned out to sit on there pretty nice. I just gotta fill this gap, so I just gotta, it's squeaking there, but I just gotta lift it up somehow and manage to drill and bolt on there. But you can force this one down too. And I got paint coming off here. I need to repaint this front bumper. And one of the PDCs actually went bye-bye, and it kind of left the bumper. I think it's hanging on the inside here. I gotta get that fixed too. Now we can actually remove this. I'm gonna leave them on there in case I need to do it again. And I'm gonna try to drill this thing on there. I'm actually excited for once, because I've been doing cars for so long. Usually when I do mods and stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna look somewhat of, I've seen it before. It's pretty dark in here, but I don't know if you can see, but it looks really freaking nice. Oh, the camera doesn't want to focus. Screw it. But now it's like clamped up on there. And I mean, obviously the fitment's not gonna be 10 out of 10. I wanna show you this. It kind of looks a little bit funny. All right, you ready? Clamp heaven. So I'm just gonna mark some holes and like drill all the way around. I'm gonna use bolts and nuts and washers. My only concern with this is like right here somewhere. I think it's supposed to be here, where the inside of it kind of goes up and the bottom is flat. That means I'm gonna have to have like a longer screw. So I might have to go back to Home Depot, who figured, but we'll see. I'm gonna start to drill some of them. The clamps are gonna stay because they're my safety and priority. Ugh. Since I don't have a drill, but I got to borrow Chris's, I actually went and bought these Ryobi 25-piece drills. Usually they make these like break-in proof for kids, and I've noticed recently that it usually affects me a lot too. They're better at creating the package than making the drills. New hardware, guys. Back from Home Depot. We're just gonna bolt this little sucker right up, and we're gonna mount the wheels and see what it looks like. She's finally down on the ground, guys. And keep in mind, whenever you're adjusting your coilovers, it's always gonna sit a little bit higher since it's been up and the spring has been not under load. And then so whenever you set it down, it's gonna sit a few millimeters higher than what it's actually going to. So it will sink a little bit. But I think this is good as it is. You can't really tell much of a difference. Obviously we didn't touch the rear. Rears are good. But this front lip is just next level. Yeah, I love this. It looks like a new car, honestly. Make sure to check your wheel bolts afterwards. Drive around a little bit and see, because sometimes they come loose. Hasn't happened to me yet, but I've heard horror stories. So, well, this is, I mean, it could be a little bit better right here. You have to be super picky. Here's good, and the front's good. You know what I think we should do? We should take her out, have a little glance in the sun.